The courtroom is hushed. 5 wives, one husband, and a secret that threatens to destroy it all. A battle over loyalty, betrayal, and family wealth is about to erupt, and nobody is walking away whole. Don't blink, folks, because this book isn't done yet. Stay with me to watch the drama play out, and tell me in the comments, whose side would you be on if this was your family? Sunlight enters the courthouse windows during the morning, casting long shadows on the highly polished wooden benches. Kody enters first, his face serene but his eyes revealing a tempest raging inside. He tightens his tie, a perpetual nervous habit he never deserts, and looks around at the vacant jury seats. The wives arrive, one at a time. Christine in a pressed blazer that covers a shiver of nervousness, Robyn with the calm she always brings, Janelle with quiet dignity, and Meri shying away from my contact, as though the room might inhale her. The courtroom has the faint scent of worn books and varnished wood. The air is charged. Whispers ripple through the balcony as onlookers lean forward, straining to hear a whiff of what's to come. Everybody knows this isn't some mundane legal wrangling. It's a crashing of personal betrayals and family secrets. The judge arrives, and there is silence like a thick curtain. The clerk announces the case. The state versus Kody Brown and wives. Family estate dispute. Cameras flash in the back. The first gavel falls. Christine stands up first, her voice firm, although there is an edge of frustration. Your Honor, I come here seeking clarification and justice for what has been poorly managed for so long. She looks at Kody, anger and hurt in her eyes. Robyn edges a little to one side, her hand touching Janelle's, a small, silent gesture of unity or maybe solidarity awaiting anarchy. The plaintiff's attorney stands, beginning with a practiced calm that conceals barely contained energy. This is not just about money or property. This is about promises, duty, and trust betrayed. Every wife who is here has been touched. Every wife has seen behaviors that call for responsibility. The courtroom seems more weighty now, the light dimming into extended, angled slivers that run across the gleaming wood floor, as if time itself draws in, waiting for the drama to play out. Robyn stands, her fists clenched before her, and starts relating a string of intimate conversations and events that had been kept hidden from everyone else. Her own voice is soothing, almost unnervingly so, but every word falls with a sharp impact, exposing cracks in the tightly constructed veneer of family peace. I believed what I believed was true, she states, hesitation as she allows her words to settle, her eyes roaming the room as though assessing the effect on every individual. And yet I was lied to in ways I could hardly have dreamed. Christine forwards herself in her chair, jaw clenched, a hint of a quiver betraying the anger seething beneath her controlled facade, and she cuts in harshly, "You knew more than you confessed, and it was to our detriment." The court reporter works quickly, committing each word to paper, as the judge sits back with an inscrutable face, the silence between words expanding and feeding into the tension. Each whisper, each gentle inhalation of breath, is magnified in the quiet courtroom, exerting a pressure that is nearly palpable. The gallery sits in mesmerized stillness, aware that what is being revealed is not only legal testimony but the stripping away of years of concealed dynamics, betrayals, and secrets. Meri leans back, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, occasionally sneaking a glance at Kody, who stands stoically but whose tight fists betraying an inner struggle. The tension builds incrementally as evidence starts to spill out. Emails exchanged between two of the wives, financial records that disclose decisions made without complete agreement, and faint manipulations that had evaded detection for years. Every discovery is followed by a combination of gasps, hushed murmurs, and the acute but silent breath of the jurors. Janelle, having stood up, describes a quarrelsome months past that had been previously insignificant, but now, under the cold fluorescent lighting and in the face of legal examination, assumes a whole new meaning. Her voice veers between tight control and explosive outbursts of feeling. "I did my best to maintain peace. I really did. I thought that if I stayed silent, the family would be whole, but peace is built on honesty, and honesty was never a mutual thing." Her eyes dart toward Kody, then Robyn, each glance heavy with unspoken blame and pain. Robyn's hands twitch slightly as she listens, her composure unbroken outwardly, yet the tightening of her jaw, the blink of an eye, betray a storm inside.
You're about to uncover truths that will make your heart race, and the next revelation will leave even the strongest family shaken. As the attorneys start to present evidence, the air thickens, nearly choking, the scent of polished wood blending with the faint, lingering aroma of perfume, coffee, and anxiety.
The court clerk sets down a stack of financial records onto the stand. The sound of paper rustling is acoustically loud in the charged silence. Kody stands, voice controlled but strained with silent anger, justifying his decisions, trying to present his actions as practical and in the best interest of the family, but each deliberated statement appears to drive the wives deeper into suspicion and outrage. "I balanced fairness with love," he states, pausing, looking at the jury, then both wives. "But love is messy, Your Honor, and truth is rarely neat." His soothing words do nothing to defuse the tension, and the room appears to throb with a shared anxiety as the testimonies go on, disclosing private meetings, clandestine financial arrangements, and whispered promises betrayed or disregarded. Hold your breath. The next twist will expose secrets nobody ever could have predicted, and the repercussions will be intolerable. Meri finally takes her turn, voice low but steady, recounting instances of favoritism, subtle manipulations, and betrayals that she had endured silently for years. Each sentence she utters carries a weight of suppressed emotion, a mixture of sorrow, rage, and fear, and as she speaks, it becomes painfully clear that the family's bonds are far more fragile than anyone had admitted. Christine leans forward once more, eyes glinting, voice lifting just high enough to demand attention without losing her hold, pointing out how decisions come to in secret impacted her emotionally, financially, and socially. Robyn's face relaxes slightly into tension. Janelle nips at the inside of her cheek to keep from speaking, and Kody's fingers drum anxiously on the table's edge. The drama is palpable, a weight pushing down on the walls and audience as much as on the family. The next bombshell is about to blow this family away, and you'll be wishing you had been in the courtroom to witness the amazement for yourself. The plaintiff's attorney produces a bank statement, pointing to a previously unknown account. A money moved quietly, without the knowledge of all of the wives, sums large enough to ignite charges of betrayal, favoritism, and deception. Gasps ripple through the gallery, and the judge sits back, pushing his glasses up his nose, eyes narrowing as he scans the statement. Christine's hands shake a little as she touches the papers. Her face changes from shock to fury and then to cold, smoldering determination. Kody attempts to rationalize the account, saying the money was for family expenses, for unexpected situations, but his excuses ring hollow. Every effort to explain only serves to fuel more suspicion and resentment. Robyn's serene facade starts to fissure in small increments. Her mouth's corners scrunch, a soft sigh escapes, and her hand touches against her chest for a moment, flashing a glimpse of exposure. The wives look at each other, shared looks that speak volumes without words, accusing, doubting, hurting, each one heavy with unspoken words. Prepare yourself. What happens next will rewrite all you ever knew about this family. The attorney goes on, piecing together the evidence like a jigsaw puzzle, exposing masked patterns of favoritism, clandestine meetings, and backroom decisions that openly contradict previous assertions. Every emerging piece of evidence is like a hammer blow against the fragile image of togetherness that has kept the family united in public. The emotional tension comes to a boiling point when the wives are finally permitted to question each other directly. Christine is harsh, tightly controlled but biting. "Why didn't you tell me this? Were we ever considered equal in your eyes?" Robyn fires back with a controlled cool, but the words cut. "I did what I believed to be right, but obviously, what I believed to be right was never going to be quite good enough for some of you." Janelle's voice cracks a little, feeling close to the surface as she utters, "I held my tongue to protect everyone, and yet, protection appears to have been one-sided." Kody shifts in his seat, the placidity he'd shown earlier disintegrating in tiny, almost microscopic ways. A hand runs nervously over the table, a jaw clenches, a low, frustrated grunt leaves his throat unheard. The remaining hour will have you on the edge of your seat as allegiances are broken. Trust is destroyed, and each new revelation has the family teetering on the edge of implosion. With each new cross-examination, old letters, messages, and financial records appear, each layering more tension, doubt, and emotional intensity. Meri's eyes well up as she reads a text she had never seen before, implying secret communication between two of the other wives and Kody about decisions that directly impacted her. Christine gasps, leaning forward, eyes wide, as she reads a letter that contradicts earlier testimony, her expression flickering from hurt to shock to rising anger. The room contracts around them as each fresh revelation falls, the pressure of years of concealment bearing down on each shoulder, each spine bristling at the common weight. Robyn's prim control wobbles for an instant as she breathes out sharply, the faintest quiver in her tone betraying anger. Hang tight. What comes next will stun everybody and may remap the future of the family forever. The session reaches its climax as a secret bank account is uncovered in every detail, transactions followed, motives challenged, and motives argued. The jury glances at each other, silent assessments of who appears honest, who appears dishonest. Kody's explanation crumbles under interrogation. Christine's demand for responsibility becomes more pointed. Janelle's quiet anger becomes nearly tangible. Robyn's words, now tightly chosen, have an edge to them of accusation. Meri's lips press together, her eyes glistening with emotion, as she realizes the depth of the deception she had unknowingly endured. The gallery is tense, the air thick, each heartbeat seemingly audible. The judge finally calls for a recess, his gavel striking loudly, momentarily breaking the tension. The wives slowly get up, faces a blend of shock, outrage, sadness, and resolve, exiting the courtroom in silence with only the sound of shoes shuffling on the floor. Outside the courtroom, they stand lost in contemplation, each one grappling with the revelations, wondering how to trust, and quietly considering the next step in a tangled web of family, loyalty, and deceit. The courtroom opens again after the dramatic recess, and the air is almost claustrophobic, heavy with expectation, as if every wall, every gleaming bench, every groan of the floorboards hungers to see the secrets of the Brown family unraveled. Kody arrives first, a mask of serenity on his face, but a storm brewing under his eyes, a mix of fear, frustration, and guilt that cannot be fully hidden, and he sits back as the wives arrives, and seething resentment, Christine shooting a pointed look at Robyn, whose tranquil exterior belies a sharp, calculating mind observing every gesture, every glance, as Janelle's still dignity stands in marked contrast to Meri's taut tension, whose eyes dart nervously, avoiding contact but drinking in every detail, every nuance in the room. The judge sits, the gavel comes down, and the hearing opens, but the words of the plaintiff's attorney opens, but the words of the plaintiff's attorney opens, but the words of the plaintiff's attorney of the attorney are once, but the words of the plaintiff's attorney of words of the plaintiff's attorney whose eyes start nervous stands in mixing this eyes journey if look at fits the words torturous tension as he reminds all present that the prize here is not merely pecuniary but deeply personal, built on trust, loyalty, and betrayal that have long brewed beneath the surface. Robyn is called to the stand first, speaking of a series of late-night talks, hidden messages, and furtive meetings she had uncovered, reliving them in hair-raising detail with a measured, deliberate tone that makes every revelation fall like a sledgehammer, or wig a sledgehammer, or revelation fall like a sledgehammer, or revelation fall like a sledgehammer. I thought we were all working together, equally informed, equally respected, she says, voice steady but slicing, but the truth I uncovered proves otherwise. Her eyes piercing the jury and each wife, sending waves of tension through the room. Christine leaning forward, voice rising slightly. How could anyone be trusted when deception was woven into every decision? And Janelle uncomfortably shifts, silently hoping for tranquility, but uncomfortably shifts, silently hoping for tranquility, but a while there. But a wise tranquility, but a when comfortably shifts, silently hoping for tranquility, but a wolf stiffs. I silently hoping for tranquility, but a woven forward, but a disclosed secret now will increase the war. And the next find is one that will have viewers sitting on the edge of their seats, heart beating with expectation. As papers are read, it's clear that Kody had been making financial deals and family plans that some wives had been purposely kept in the dark about, a discovery that instantaneously charges the air. Heavy with the tension of betrayal, the smell of freshly polished wood and faint perfume suspended amidst the weightlessness of deceit. As the jury writes furiously, eyes darting between faces, attempting to sort truth from lies, and the camera claws, and the camera claws, and the camera claw, a quivering hand, a narrowing of eyes into slivers of suspicion. Meri speaks at last, voice low but laced with emotion, of a conversation she'd overheard months before that now holds a haunting significance. "I heard what I thought I wasn't supposed to hear, and it changed everything for me," she says, her voice wavering between anger, hurt, and disbelief, as Christine and Robyn glance at each other, silently questioning motives and alliances as are. Silently questioning motives and alliances as motives and alliances as motives and alliances as motives and alliances as Bean and alliances as Jean and Robyn glances as high-stakes emotions. Hold on tight. The twists you are about to see will rock the very foundation of this family, unearthing layers of betrayal even the most astute observers could not have anticipated. The session turns darker as Janelle describes a sequence of arguments that had occurred privately, late at night, late-night whispers of disagreements over family choices which had seemed insignificant then but now, under the harsh glare of the court, are titanic, each word laced with emotion, her voice weaving in and out between despair, outrage, and incredulity. "I stayed silent for peace, for the family, but my silence was used against Mesd. But my silence was used against Mesd family. But my silence was used against Mesd. But my silence was used against Mesd for the family, but my silence was used against Mesd emotion. Her voiced against silent for Stanley, but my casting a fleeting glance at Kody, whose calm facade begins to crack ever so slightly, eyes darting with doubt, hands drumming nervously on the table, slight signs that even he cannot keep in check the emotional storm that is about to break over them. You are being told a tale of secrets and lies that will have you grasping so tightly you will feel every pulse beat, every tremor of feeling in this room. Evidence mounts, letters, emails, financial records, each page revealing covert choices, concealed affiliations, and actions that conflict with previous testimony, each disclosure layering tension like bricks in a wall, creating a feeling of inevitable pressure, while the wives' responses become more volatile. Christine's sharp breath, Robyn's pursed-lipped sigh, Janelle's tightly clasped hands in front of her, and Meri's quivering fingers that Barry's quivering fingers that bivering 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 fingers that biv. Plaintiff's attorney leans forward, highlighting each betrayal, each omission, each hidden truth, compelling the family to face the breadth of secrecy and dishonesty which has quietly ruled their relationships, and Kody struggles to defend himself, trying to defend his actions with soothing words which now sound empty. "I thought I was keeping everyone safe," he states, voice weakening, "but maybe my decisions were misinterpreted. But maybe my decisions were misinterpreted." But the wives voice weakening, but the wives voice weakening, but maybe my decisions with soothing words which now sparkleted. But the wives voice weakening, but maybe my decisions with soothing words which now stiffened. Sense of betrayal that cuts deeper than any argument in court ever could. The next revelation will leave you breathless, as concealed affiliations and surprising motives are revealed, forever changing the way you view each character. The episode heats up as a hitherto hidden meeting is uncorked, one that involved Kody and Robyn, backroom decisions with consequences that cut quite the opposite of what the other wives thought, triggering a flood of accusations, protests, and tantrums, Christine standing her ground, asking for answers, her voice cut and unyielding. "Why wasn't I told? Was my opinion ever relevant?" As Robyn calmly but firmly replies, "I acted in what I believed was the best interest, but apparently perception varies from intent." The subtle tension between accusation and explanation building an almost tangible friction in the room, each word resonating with emotional depth that has audiences riveted and unable to turn away. Meri's eyes well up with unshed tears as she speaks of a betrayal, 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 as she speaks of a betrayal. Biting, showing the depth of manipulation and subterfuge she had endured in silence. I believed loyalty meant honesty, but I was mistaken. She breathes, and the courtroom holds its collective breath, sensing the emotional explosion impending on the horizon. You won't believe what follows. The revelations are about to spin out of control into something so explosive it will change family trust and loyalty forever. The lawyer presses on, presenting evidence of financial choice, transfers and spending that had been hidden, suggesting favoritism and working against claims of parity between the wives, the tension in the room building with every new revelation. The wives' response is a mix of shock, anger, and growing indignation. Kody shifting uncomfortably, trying to explain himself but coming up wanting under examination, his collected demeanor favelenting under examination, his collected demeanor favelected demeanor favelected demeanor favelation, his collected demeanor favelation, his collected demeanor favelace, valixum develation, his collected demeanor favelation, the lowest brisensalk anger, and growing under examination. Every damning document. Christine's tone becomes biting. Robyn's frozen exterior begins to crack. Janelle bites back at frustration, and Meri's hands shake, eyes brimming with pain and incredulity, all underscoring the emotional charge that looms over the legal hearing. Hold on. The emotional tension is going to hit warp speed, and the next few minutes will hold you in thrall in a way few courtroom procedurals ever manage. Cross-examinations disclose hidden messages, furtive meetings, and clandestine decision-making that the wives had been excluded from, the web of deceit baffling the jury and gallery, each piece of evidence a puzzle in a mosaic of betrayal, trust broken, and family ties strained to the point of snapping. While the wives' reactions build in intensity, Christine pacing nervously, Robyn sitting stiffly, Janelle pressing palms to thighs and wordlessly, Robyn sitting palms to thighs and wordlessly, wordless and wordlessly and wordlessly. Hoped everyone else would not see. Air thick with unspoken words, tension almost palpable, every move, every whispered reaction magnified by the stakes and the swelling emotional crescendo. Kody strains to answer, justifying his motives while trying to modulate the emotional tide. I never meant harm, only protection. But the weight of the amassed evidence and emotional testimony makes his words sound thin, wanting, and the emotional testimony makes his words sound thin, and the emotional testing, and the wanting, and the emotional crescent thin, and the emotional crescent thin, and the emotional tide, and the emotional testing, wanting, and the emotional testing, wanting, and the emotional testing, and unspoken grievances. Tension is unrelenting. The next turn in this family saga will have viewers questioning every motive, every affiliation, and every relationship ever depicted. As the session reaches its climax, a shocking new revelation bombshell. A concealed financial document that implies clandestine alliances and decisions taken previously unknown to the other wives, sending a ripple of shock, incredulity, and outrage, the wives locking eyes in accusatory glances of betrayal and confusion, each of them reassessing trust and loyalty silently. The courtroom charged with tension as the implications of the document charged with tension as the implications of the document arch tensions arch tensions as the implications of the document infusados consument arsoc and this document are justification but ineffectual to stifle the storm, and the jurors leaning forward, enthralled by the developing emotional and legal drama. The session ends on a last, heart-stopping cliffhanger. A previously unrevealed letter to one of the wives emerges, contents unknown but hinted to be incendiary, leaving viewers and the courtroom breathless, hearts racing for the next revelation. The burden of family secrets weighing heavily, secrets weighing heavily, heavily, ing heavily, heavily, secrets weighing heavily, secrets weighing heavily, female, weighing heavily, in family secret and emotional accounting, the stage excellently set for the next session, where passions will burst, secrets be revealed, and allegiances be tested beyond recognition. Meri's voice trembles as she testifies first, recounting minor grievances that, on the surface, seem trivial but hint at a deeper fracture. Every small detail she reveals, missed promises, whispered conversations, unkept commitments, builds tension, hinting at the explosive revelations yet to come. The judge nods reflectively, taking notes. Kody stands to answer, choosing each word carefully. I have sought to balance love and fairness. But love is untidy, Your Honor, and the truth is never tidy. His steady voice is a stark contrast to the escalating tempest among the wives, whose faces subtly shift from doubt to anger to resolve. Session 1 closes with the first actual flash of tension, a letter found in court that none of the wives anticipated, written to one of them. A missive that suggests betrayal so profound that it might alter everything. Christine reaches for it, her hands trembling, eyes opening wide as the room around her shrinks into a claustrophobic space. The light in the room grows darker as the sun falls behind the courthouse walls in the afternoon. The tension has been building into something tangible. Robyn begins, recalling intimate conversations that had been shut from the rest. Her tone is even but biting, each sentence carefully constructed yet charged with meaning. I believed what I believed to be true. And yet, her voice lingers, a silent accusation hovering in the air. The court reporter types furiously as Christine leans forward, voice rising. You knew more than you admitted. And it was at our expense. Testimonies bring forth furtive encounters and hushed conspiracies, secret financial transactions known only to Kody and a single wife. The jury fidgets uncomfortably as the emotional tension builds. The camera zooms in on subtle actions, a shaking hand over a glass of water, eyes flashing away from a piercing stare, a whispered sigh barely heard yet thunderous within the stilled room. Janelle gets up on the stand next, describing an argument that at the time seemed insignificant but now appears a turning point. She shifts between grief and anger. I did try to make peace. I really did. But peace needs honesty, and honesty was never shared. As facts are brought out, coalitions break visibly apart. Robyn and Christine share scathing looks. Meri crosses her arms, appearing distant but secretly boiling. Kody's stoic facade starts to crack. Little lapses in words reveal frustration and guilt. Session 2 concludes with the most amazing surprise so far. A secret bank account, an account unknown to anyone, directly linked to choices that would alter the inheritance entirely. The judge requests a recess. The wives file silently out of the courtroom, each of them in thoughts, tension so heightened that the walls appear to press inward. The courtroom opens again after the explosive revelations of the previous session, and the air is charged with an electric feeling, heavy with expectation, as if everyone inside can feel that the fragile balance of family trust is about to collapse. Kody enters first with a measured stride, though the tension in his shoulders and the tightening around his eyes betray the strain he has been under since the last bombshell. Christine enters with a mixture as 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 eyes, every step echoing slightly on the polished courtroom floor. Robyn serene, but with a storm of emotions brewing behind her calm blue-green eyes. Janelle sits poised but tense as fingers tap against the bench, bracing herself for the next wave of revelations. Meri scans the room, serene but her jaw clenched, tight, absorbing every detail. Every glance, every glance, every glance, every subtle shift in body language as if preparing for another blow. The judge entered preparing for another blow. The judge entered preparing for another blow. The judge entered for another blow. The judge entered every blow. The judge entered preparing for another blow. The judge entered preparing for another blow. The judge entered for another blow. The curtain as the whole courtroom turns its gaze to the doings. The plaintiff's attorney wastes no time and leans forward with intensity, reminding the court that the matters at hand are legal but profoundly personal matters going straight to trust, loyalty, and the betrayal that has been festering beneath the surface for years, immediately setting the tone for a session full of emotional volatility, suspense, and high stakes. Robyn is called to the 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 years. And secret meetings she had discovered that were never disclosed to the rest of the wives. Her voice calm but loaded with unspoken fury. I discovered truths I was never meant to know, and each revelation felt like a knife twisting slowly. She says, her gaze sharp, scanning each wife in turn, noting reactions, seeing anger flicker in Christine's eyes, subtle apprehension in Janelle, and a mix of hurt and disbelief in Meri. While Cody's tension in Janelle, and a mix of hurt and disbelief in Meri. While Cody's hand leaf in Meri, while Cody's hand while Cody's hand of while Cody's hand a mix of hurt and a mix of hurt is handy's belief in Meri, while Cody's hands tension he is trying to mask. You can hardly prepare for it. The next secrets will shatter illusions and leave the family and you reeling in disbelief. As the papers are laid out, tension fills the room, paper rustle magnified in the still air, uncovering a sequence of previously unseen finance transfers, emails, and messages revealing covert dealings and partnerships. Each piece of evidence added complexity, suspicion, and emotional distress. Christine sitting forward, eyes squinting, voice cutting. Why were we not informed? Undefined. Were we ever really treated as equals? While Robyn counters measured words, my intentions were to protect the family, but I realize now how perception conflict with intention. The subtle wars of words hinting at the deeper fissures in the family relationship. Hang on, because what you're about to see will hook you like never before. Each disclosure ratcheting up the tension to unbearable heights. Janelle steps up to the witness stand next, describing conversations that, at the time, seemed harmless but now, under the glare of court proceedings, betray manipulations and secrecy that have long shaped family decisions. Her voice switching between sadness and controlled fury. I remained silent to keep peace, but silence was used as a tool against me. She asserts, casting a fleeting glance at Kody. She asserts, casting a fleeting glance at Kody, whose placid facade first whose placid first begins at Kody, whose placid first inside first but silenced feelings, casting a fleeting glance at Kody, this first fleeting glance at converse sigh escaping tension, eyes darting toward each of the wives as if hoping for understanding, forgiveness, or maybe exoneration. The jury leans forward, enthralled by the emotional and legal drama unfolding, while the gallery mutters softly, sensing that the tale is on the verge of hitting new heights of passion. Every word, every movement, every quiet pause loaded with meaning, as the attorney for the plaintiffs produces a series of messages and 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 loaded with meaning, as the attorney for the plaintiffs produces a series of messages and messages, testimonies, each document punching home, forcing the wives to face reality that they have been kept in the dark regarding decisions directly affecting their lives, and Meri's face clamps, lips pursed, eyes shining with unshed tears as the burden of betrayal weighs on her shoulders, a storm brews inside her. Kody tries to justify his actions, voice measured but strained. I figured I was doing what was best for everyone, but maybe my judged I was doing what was best for everyone, but maybe my judged I was doing what was best for everyone, but maybe my judged and pungent of quieting the rising wave of suspicion, anger, and hurt amongst the wives, Christine's eyes flashing, voice rising, faulty or not. Decisions were made without our consent, without our knowledge, and that is betrayal. Robyn's calm facade starts to crack, jaw tensing, a tiny sigh escaping her lips, and Janelle's eyes narrow, the fingers of one hand drumming lightly against her thigh, a hardly noticeable indication of growing frustration. The tetly noticeable indication of growing frustration. The teton of growing frustration. The tetstration. The tetrum lightly noticeable indication of growing frustration. The tetamung startstration. The Kody and Robyn is brought forward. Decisions that were taken without reference to the other wives, allusions to favoritism, and questions of motive that set sparks flying of accusation, fury, and pain in the room. The delicate dance of words and looks weaving a complicated web of emotional intensity which keeps viewers glued to their seats. Christine's voice rings out across the courtroom, steady but biting. How could any of this be legitimate when trust was the center of our family? And Robyn responds with a carefully guarded calmness with a sting of accusation. Intentions don't always translate to perception, and perhaps that is where I failed. while Meri's head shakes slightly, lips compressed, silently judging, silently questioning, while Janelle's hands nod in her lap, thought in her lap, of gestures, glances, and inflections heightening the drama as the session comes to its climax. The attorney then produces a hidden financial account, previously unknown, transactions traced, implicating Kody in decisions which apparently undermined equality among the wives. The force of this revelation almost smothering, the wives' reactions immediate and instinctual. Christine's eyes wide, Janelle's hands clenching into fists, Robyn's face clenching into fists, Robyn's face Robyn's face clenching into fists, Robyn's face at the force Robyn's clenching into fists, Robyn's face of the force, Robyn's face on the wide, Janelle's hands clenching into fists, face white with shock, as cross-examination starts. Secret communications between Kody and some wives are exposed, documents revealing hidden motives, covert alliances, and decisions taken in secret. The jury leaning forward, the gallery hushed, entranced by each revelation, the emotional tension building exponentially with each new item of evidence. Christine's voice increases in strength, demanding answers. Robyn's calm pushed to the length, demanding answers. Robyn's calm pushed to the length, demanding answers. Robyn's calm pushed to the low. Robyn's calm pushed to the low. Robyn's calm pushed to the low. The jurling evidence. Christine's voice increases in strength, demanding answers. Robyn's calm pushed to the low, reeling, and Meri's quiet tears betraying the depth of pain she has been harboring. Kody's responses become weaker, his attempts at justification failing under the relentless probing of courtroom and wives, subtle signs of stress appearing in the slight tremble of his hands, the compression of his jaw, and the occasional faltering of eye contact. The climax of the session comes with the dramatic production of a letter hidden for months, written of a letter hidden for months, written a 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 wives, written a months, written a months, written dramatic production of a letter hidden for months, written a months, written a cumble. Explosive that the room seems to hold its collective breath. The weight of the revelation pressing down, Kody's composure broken, Christine leaning forward, eyes wide, Robyn's carefully guarded exterior cracking, Janelle's hands grasping the bench, and Meri's shoulders shaking as the words sink in. The room is still, except for the subtle rustle of papers, the occasional sharp intake of breath, and the faint creak of shoes as the enormity of the enormity of the as the enormity of the as the enormity of the still, as the enormity of the swallowing, explosive wink, is a turning point, a moment where the family's future, the alliances, and trust are all hanging by the thinnest thread. The judge's gavel strikes finally, calling for recess, but the courtroom is silent as the fifth session begins, a thick tension hanging over every polished surface, every seat, every spectator who senses that the drama is about to reach new heights. Kody enters first, shoulders tense, jaw tight, his calm facade now betraying subtle signs of strain, and he takes his seat as Christine follows, her eyes sharp and alert, scanning the room with a mixture of determination, hurt, and lingering disbelief from the previous session. Robyn gliding in with her usual composed grace, but her eyes flicking over every document and movement as though calculating each step in the unfolding drama. Janelle Silla calculating each step in the unfolding drama. Janelle Silla calculating each step in the unfolding drama. Janelle Silling drama. Janelle Sillig and scroll. Folding drama. Janelle Sillig in the unfolding drama. Janelle Sillolding drama. Janelle clasped tightly in her lap, and Meri with her gaze fixed downward initially, then slowly lifting to survey the room, tension evident in her trembling hands and the way her shoulders tense with anticipation. The judge enters, the gavel strikes, and the room seems to shrink under the weight of expectation as the attorney for the plaintiffs wastes no time, emphasizing that today's session will reveal the full extent of decisions made in secrecy. Decisions made in secrecy. Decisions made in secrecy. The full extent of decisions made in secrecy. Impact on the wives, immediately setting the tone for a session rife with confrontation, emotional intensity, and shocking revelations. Robyn is called to the stand, her voice calm but deliberately precise as she recounts a series of meetings she had with Kody that were never disclosed to the other wives, each detail dripping with implication, suggesting covert decisions and subtle manipulations, and her eyes flick between Christine, Janelle, 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 and her eyes flick between. That underscores the personal stakes, Christine leaning forward, voice rising slightly. You acted without transparency, without respect, and that is betrayal. While Robyn's measured response carries a sting of accusation. I believed my choices protected the family, but clearly perception and intention do not always align. Janelle biting her lip to hold back a response, Meri shaking her head subtly in silent disapproval, and Kody in silent disapproval, and Kody in silent disapproval, and Kody as he tries to maintain composure. As evidence is presented, a series of letters, emails, and financial documents surface, each revealing covert financial decisions, undisclosed accounts, and choices that directly contradict prior testimonies, each revelation landing like a blow and ratcheting up tension in the courtroom. The wives' reactions immediate and raw. Christine's jaw tightens, eyes narrowing with anger. Robyn's expression flickers, be expression flickers, be expression flickers, be clickers, beakers, be tension flickers, be clickers, be twickers, be hookers, be question flickers, be content flickers, be depending Rockheim. Christine's chain flickers, be contradict, Robyn's expression flickers, be tension flickers, be to testimonies. Eyes narrowing with anger. The Robyn's expression flicked in her lap, and Meri's lips pressed tightly together, eyes glistening with unspoken hurt. The gallery murmurs, the jury leans forward, and the subtle interplay of words, glances, and gestures magnifies the suspense, each detail a thread in the tangled web of betrayal, secrecy, and fractured trust. The attorney introduces a previously undisclosed letter, addressed to one of the wives, hinting at financial favoritism and private discuss, hinting at financial favoritism and private discuss, the attorney initial favoritism and private discuss, the attorney initial favoritism and private discuss, the attorney initial favoritism and private discuss, the accusations, incredulity, and emotional confrontation. Christine rising slightly, voice sharp. Why was I kept in the dark? How is this ever fair? Robyn replies, cool but adamant. My choices were made in the best interests of the family, but I realize now how it has been taken differently. The unspoken tension between intention and perception hanging in the air like an almost tangible crackle. Janelle looking over at Kody with disappointment and incredulity, Meri seething silently, and Cody's pressed lipped silence betraying the weight of the emotional maelstrom around him. Crossed-lipped silence betraying the weight of the emotion around him. Crossed-armstrom around him. Cross-term around him. Cross-termal maelstrom around him. Cross-term around him. Crossed. Testimonies are disputed, and secret communications emerge, revealing that a number of major decisions had been made without the consultation of all wives, weaving a conspiracy of secrecy that intensifies the emotional depth and threatens the shaky trust that is left. Each exchange of words freighted with accusation and defensiveness, Christine's voice rising in outrage. All of this was kept hidden, and now we are required to face it. Robyn replies calmly but firmly, my motive was to preserve harmony, but I now see how what was withheld from you affected you. As Janelle shifts back in her chair, taking in the bombshells, fists clenching in silent indignation, and Meri's lips compress as she fights to hold back emotion, the air heavy with unspoken hurt and old tension. The room is rocked by a stunning revelation. A summary of Kody's secret meetings with Robyn detailation. A summary of Kody's secret meetings with Robyn detailation. My Meri's with Robyn details, secret meetings with Robyn details. That had been hidden, and a history of favoritism the other wives knew nothing about, causing ripples of anger and incredulity through the courtroom. Christine's eyes go wide, jaw clenching, voice shaking with barely suppressed rage. How could you leave us out? How was trust so utterly betrayed? Robyn's calm demeanor cracks ever so slightly, a tight exhale escaping her lips. I thought I was protecting the family, but I see now how it has caused harm. Janelle shifts uncomfortably, Meri's hands tremble as she grips the edge of the bench, and Kody struggles to formulate a defense, words faltering under the weight of mounting evidence and emotional intensity. The session escalates as more letters, financial statements, and secrets as more letters, financial statements, and secrets, alliances, and undisclosed motives, each disclosure a dagger to the heart of family trust, the wives' reactions growing increasingly volatile. Christine pacing slightly, voice sharp and demanding answers, Robyn sitting rigidly, jaw tight, eyes flicking between Kody and the other wives, Janelle pressing palms to her thighs in silent frustration, and Meri quietly wiping away tears, all while the jury and gallery remain spellbound, absorbing every detail, 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 love absorbing every detail, love absorbing every detail, all when spellbows. The attorney for the plaintiffs emphasizes each revelation, framing the evidence in a way that highlights deception, broken trust, and favoritism, forcing the family to confront decades of decisions made in secrecy, and Kody's calm facade begins to crumble visibly, fingers tapping nervously, eyes shifting uncomfortably, and subtle exhalations betraying his stress. Christine demands clarification on key financial moves. Robyn attempts a 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 clarification on key financial moves. Robyn attempts to crumble visibly. Key financial moves. Robyn attempts to stush financial moves. Quivers as she addresses past silences, and Meri's quiet anger begins to surface, all combining to create a volatile, emotionally charged scene, while Kody's words fail to fully mitigate the growing storm, the subtle cracks in his composure widening with every pointed question and intense glare. The session reaches its climax when an explosive letter, previously hidden for months, is revealed to contain information that undermines prior is revealed to contain information that undermines prior studs. Favoritism, leaving the courtroom collectively holding its breath, Christine staring wide-eyed, Robyn's composed exterior faltering, Janelle's hands gripping the bench, Meri shaking slightly with disbelief, and Kody rendered speechless. The tension so thick it feels almost tangible, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath alongside the family. The judge calls for a recess, gavel striking sharply, but the weight of what has just been revealed, sharply, but the weight of what has just been revealed feels. The room, every heartbeat synchronized to the tension, each individual lost in thought, trying to process the implications, the alliances, the betrayals, and the fragile trust that now hangs by a thread. And as the wives leave the courtroom slowly, expressions a mixture of disbelief, anger, sorrow, and determination, the stage is set perfectly for the continuation of this saga, promising even greater emotional upheaval, shocking revelational upheaval, shocking revelational upheaval, shocking revelational upheaval, shocking revelational upheaval, shocking revelation of the saga, promising even greater emotional upheaval, shocking revelation. To witness the fallout, the courtroom reopens with a heavy, almost suffocating silence, as if the walls themselves are bracing for the emotional upheaval that is about to unfold. Kody walking in first, shoulders stiff, jaw set, eyes darting subtly toward each of the wives, a calm exterior masking the storm of anxiety, frustration, and guilt brewing beneath the surface. Christine following with a fierce determination etched into her features, every glow brewing beneath the features, every glow brews determination etched into her features, every glow features, every glows themselves features. The lingering betrayals, Robyn entering with her usual composed poise, but the tightness around her eyes betrays a careful calculation of each word, each reaction, each movement. Janelle seated quietly but tense, fingers clasped tightly in her lap, her posture rigid, ready to absorb or deflect whatever unfolds, and Meri entering with a quiet intensity, scanning the room with a mix of wariness and anticipation. The subtle tremble of wariness and anticipation. The subtle global tremble of the mix of wariness and anticipation. The subtle tremble of the mix of wariness and anticipation. The subtle tremble, a dull tremble, a dull tremble, of past sessions, the judge takes his seat, gavel strikes, and the air thickens as the session begins, the attorney for the plaintiffs leaning forward, setting the stage with deliberate intensity, emphasizing that this session will reveal the far-reaching consequences of deception, hidden motives, and decisions made in secrecy, forcing each family member to confront the true magnitude of betrayal and fractured trust, immediately escalating the emotionating, 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 the emotion sensitive trust, hitting them sequencing, the emotionating, the emotionating, the emotionating, the emotion called to the stand first, recounting a series of undisclosed conversations with Kody that were designed to influence financial and familial decisions without the knowledge of the other wives, each detail laid out with calm precision. Yet every sentence carries an emotional weight that resonates through the room, Christine leaning forward, voice sharp and tremulous with controlled fury. How could this have been done without our knowledge? Were our feelings ever considered? Robyn's measured reply is cold but incisive. I thought I was doing what was best for the family, but perception does not always equal intention. Her eyes glancing almost imperceptibly toward each wife, noticing responses. Anger from Christine, tense silence from Janelle, shock from Meri, Kody squirming, fingers drumming nervously against the smooth surface, the strained illusion of calmness beginning to crack under the persistent glove, under the persistent glove, under the persistent glove, under the persistent glove. Hushed confines becomes amplified, each page offering hitherto unknown accounts, secret decisions, and concealed communications, imploring favoritism, clandestine alliances, and conscious omissions which directly affected the wives, with every disclosure dropping with a psychological heft that feels almost palpable, Christine's face constricting with rage, her eyes growing small, voice low but biting. Were we ever treated like equals, or was R 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 was arms 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 almost R was arms 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 arms. While Robyn's calm exterior begins to falter, a subtle exhale betraying the pressure of the moment, Janelle's hands pressing lightly against her thighs, Meri's fingers trembling as she grips the edge of the bench, each small gesture amplifying the tension and suspense. The gallery is captivated, whispers hushed, the jury leaning forward in fascination, aware that what unfolds is not only a legal proceeding but an intimate, raw, and emotionally charged confrontation, every glance, word, and reaction loaded with meaning, each new piece of evidence pushing the tension higher. The exchange grows more heated as a long-forgotten chain of letters is revealed, laying out exchanges between Kody and Robyn over matters of estate and family decisions, made in secret from the other wives, and now sparking a tidal wave of mistrust, rage, and emotional confrontation. Christine standing up abruptly, voice shaking but demanding attention. How could any of this happen behind our backs? How did we get ignored? Robyn answers guardedly, restrained but barbed. I acted in what I thought was the family's best interest, but I see now the pain inflicted. Janelle reaching forward, seething silence and incredulity rushing over her face, Meri trembling with effort, straining to keep herself under control, and Kody fighting to keep his face impassive as the burden of scrutiny bears down from all sides. Cross-examinations become more heated, the plaintiff's lawyer breaking down financial records, emails, and private messages, revealing a pattern of hiding and bias. The jury transfixed, the crowd hanging on every word, every inflection, every furtive glance, each bombshell ringing like a hammer against the tenuous walls of confidence remaining. Christine's voice rising in indignation. Why were we left out?
How could this have been allowed to continue so long?
Robyn's carefully controlled tone wavers, jaw tightening, eyes briefly meeting Kody's before darting away, Janelle pressing her lips together, hands clenching lightly in her lap, and Meri quietly wiping away tears, each emotional reaction amplifying the gravity of the situation. The attorney then introduces a shocking revelation. Hidden financial introduces a shocking revelation. hidden financial transfers, letters, and accounts, indicating favoritism and secret alliances that undermine the no mine, the no mine, the known, the no mine, the no mine, the no mine, the known, the no mine, the no mine, secret alliances that undermine the no mine and no knowns, indiscreet alliances that undermine the no mine, the no me of the secret alliance and landing with emotional impact, tension thickening in the room as if every breath held is a shared gasp of disbelief, anger, and hurt, the wives' reactions escalating with every new piece of evidence. Christine pacing slightly, voice sharp, Robyn sitting rigidly, eyes narrowing, Janelle biting the inside of her cheek to control frustration, and Meri's shoulders trembling as she silently processes the betrayal. Kody attempts to respond, carefully choosing each word, but his explanations falter under the relentless scrutiny of the courtroom, the wives, and the weight of documented evidence. Subtle signs of stress showing in a tight jaw, flicking eyes, and shallow exhalations, while Christine's gaze pierces him, demanding accountability. Robyn's calm exterior wavers under questioning. Janelle struggles to maintain composure, and Meri's quiet anger singers, quiet anger singers, quiet anger singers, quiet anger singers, quiet anger singemented evidence, struggles to maintain composure, and Meri's quiet angers, quiet angers, quiet angers, quiet angers, quiet angers, subtle struggles to maintain composure, and Meri tension, emotion, and suspense. The session intensifies as the attorney for the plaintiffs introduces a series of messages and financial records that reveal covert decision-making, secret agreements, and hidden alliances, each disclosure igniting a wave of emotional response. Christine's voice sharp and accusing, "How could these choices be made without our consent?" Robyn responds with a careful mixture of defense and regret. Janelle's hands press firmly to her thighs as she internalizes the betrayal. Meri's lips tighten, eyes glistening with emotion, and Kody's hands tremble slightly as he struggles to justify his actions, the emotional weight in the courtroom rising with each passing minute. The tension reaches a fever pitch as another letter is revealed, one that was previously undisclosed, implying secretly undisclosed, implying secretly undisclosed, implying secretly undisclosed, implying secretly undisclosed, the implying secretly undisclosed, implying secretly undisclosed. Shockwaves through the wives and leaving Kody momentarily speechless. Christine staring wide-eyed, Robyn's control faltering, Janelle gripping the bench, and Meri's shoulders shaking ever so slightly as the gravity of the revelation sinks in. The session closes with the judge calling for a short recess, the gavel striking sharply, yet the tension lingers, pressing on every individual in the courtroom, every heartbeat synchronized with the unspoken weight, every heartbeat synchronized with the unspoken weight, every heartbeat synchronized with the unspoken weight of the unspoken weight of this unspoken weight of the revelation synchronized with the unspoken weight of a courtroom, every heartbeat synchronized with the unspoken weight of the unspoken weight. Trust. The wives exiting slowly, expressions a mix of disbelief, sorrow, anger, and determination, each silently preparing for the next emotional confrontation, while Kody remains seated, hands clasped, eyes staring blankly at the documents, the stage set for the continuation of this gripping saga, promising even more shocking revelations, emotional confrontations, and moments that will keep viewers riveted and desperate for keep viewers riveted and desperate for riveted and desperate for flirtations, and moments that will keep viewers riveted and desperate for flirtations, and moments that will keep viewers riveted and desperate for flirting saga, for things and desperate for flirting and desperate for things. Drama, revealing truths that no one saw coming and forcing the family to confront the consequences of years of secrecy. The courtroom opens once more, the air thick with anticipation, charged with the weight of the previous sessions, every polished surface reflecting the tension that grips everyone inside. Kody entering first, shoulders stiff, jaw tight, exuding a controlled calm that barely conceals the storm brewing beneath. Christine following, clowing, 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 clowing conceals the storm brewing beneath. Christine following clothes the flow. With unwavering determination, every glance a silent challenge, Robyn walking in with poised elegance, her serene exterior masking a mind calculating every detail, every possible move. Janelle seated quietly, Janelle seated quietly but visibly bracing herself, hands clasped, fingers tightening in subtle, almost imperceptible gestures of stress, and Meri entering last, with an intensity that radiates both caution and simmering anger. Her masked her intensity that radiates both caution and simmering anger. Her absorbing every word, every movement, every expression as the stakes escalate. The judge takes his seat, gavel striking sharply, and the courtroom falls into a charged silence. The attorney for the plaintiffs immediately leaning forward, emphasizing that today's session will confront the deepest layers of secrecy, betrayal, and emotional manipulation, making clear that the revelations about to unfold could permanently alter the delicate balance, suspense. Robyn is called to the stand, her voice calm yet deliberate, recounting clandestine meetings and conversations with Kody that had never been disclosed to the other wives. Her words precise and measured but carrying an undeniable emotional weight. Christine leaning forward, voice trembling with controlled fury. How could these decisions be made without our knowledge? Were our feelings ever considered? Robyn's judicious reply, quiet but biting. I had the family's best interest at heart, but perception and intention do not always coincide. Brings small changes to the wives' faces, Christine's eyes tightening, Janelle's lips compressing, Meri's hands shaking slightly, and Kody fidgeting uncomfortably, fingers drumming lightly against the glossy table. Prepare yourselves. The secrets about to be revealed will rock the very foundations of truck. The revealed will rock the very foundations of truck trustes.
Evidence is laid out with painstaking care. Letters, emails, budgets that show clandestine decisions, shadowy alliances, and secret actions that contradict earlier claims, every disclosure slamming home with the force of an emotional mallet. Christine's jaw clenched, eyes wide in shock and outrage. Robyn's calm demeanor cracking just a little, Janelle's fists bunching in her lap, Meri shaking her head wordlessly, taking in each stunning revelation.
Under examination, the attorney highlights each item of evidence, describing a mosaic of secrecy and bias that has worked behind the scenes to erode the family, the jury hanging on their every word, the gallery deathly quiet, every faint gasp, rustle, and intocan breath amplifying the tension, the stakes emotionally escalating exponentially. Grip tight, because what's about to follow will take your breath away, as undercover truths and emotional will take your breath away, as undercover truths and emotional to family, as undercover truths and emotional will take your breath away, as undercover truths and emotional will take your breath away. Christine insists on explanations, voice piercing and biting. How are decisions made in the backs of our minds? How was trust so callously broken? Robyn's reply, controlled but biting, my motives were for the family's good, but I know the hurt it brought, does little to pacify the gathering storm. Janelle shifting uncomfortably, Meri's lips compressing as tears well up, and Kody's nervous fidgeting betrays the tension that words cannot conceal. Tension mounts as further covert communications emerge. Messages between Kody and Robyn announcing family finances and relationship changing family finances and relationship changing and relationship changing raised. Messages between Kody and Robyn announcing family finances and relationship changing family finances and sparking waves of incredulity, rage, and emotional combat. Christine rising, voice stern. How could you exclude us? How could any of this be justified? Robyn's serenity starts to slip, a sigh on her lips. I did what I thought was best, but I now see the cost of keeping secrets. Janelle's face scrunches up, Meri's hands shaking, Kody wrestling for an answer. The room a volatile powder keg of emotion, just waiting for the spark to set things off. You're going to witness revelations that will turn all you thought you knew inside out, and the after effects will be unforgettable. Cross-examinations become more heated, every new piece of paper shedding surreptitious motives, clandestine meetings, and coalitions, the jury enthralled, the gallery in hushed silence, all eyes riveted, all breath suspended, the room charged with suspense, Christine's voice swelling in indignation. How are we shut out of decisions that touch us all? Robyn tries reasoned defense, Janelle stuffs her resentment, Meri seethes privately, and Kody buckles under constant criticism, signs of tension evident in a clenched jaw, darting eyes, and rapid breathing. Just hold on, because the next bombshell will shake this family to its foundation, revealing motives kept well hidden. A secretly kept account is unveiled, financial transactions carefully recorded, letters that suggest favoritism and backroom planning, shockwaves of incredulity and outrage, Christine gasping, jaw clenched, eyes bulging, Robyn's measured calm wavering, Janelle's hands white-knuckled on the bench, Meri shaking slightly as the full force of betrayal bears down, Kody speechless for a moment, tension almost too much to bear, the courtroom shrinking undus to bear. 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 The courtroom shrinking undus backrooms. Levels of deceit, subtle manipulations, and calculated omissions, the wives' responses raw and visceral. Christine walking back and forth, voice rising with anger, Robyn sitting stiffly, eyes narrowing, Janelle pressing her palms against her thighs, Meri softly weeping, the jury leaning forward, the gallery entranced, the emotional power building with each word. The next plot twist is inevitable, and it will have viewers on the edge of their seats questioning each choice and each allegiance. A shocking letter surfaces, previously hidden, implicating secret favoritism and clandestine decisions, sending shockwaves through the courtroom, Christine staring incredulously, Robyn faltering, Janelle gripping the bench, Meri shaking, Kody unable to find words, all the carefully constructed facades crumbling under scrutiny, the weight of secrecy and betrayal pressing down, suffocating in its intensity. The attorney continues, present in its intensity. The attorney continues, present in its intensity. The attorney continues, present previous testimonies revealing secret alliances and decisions that betray trust, Christine's voice cutting, demanding accountability, Robyn struggling to justify her intentions, Janelle fighting to maintain composure, Meri's quiet fury simmering, Kody faltering, subtle cracks in his demeanor widening. Stay with this story, because what comes next will shock, horrify, and captivate you, making every second of this courtroom drama impossible you, making every second of this courtroom drama impossible. The session concludes with a cliffhanger. A last document, hidden until now, suggests betrayal so deep that it will redefine family life. The courtroom holding its collective breath, Christine wide-eyed, Robyn shaken, Janelle's hands clenching, Meri shaking, Kody left speechless, the gavel crashing, calling for recess, but tension lingers, weighing on every single person, every heartbeat in sync with the drama to come. The stage set for 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 the limelight. Revelations will burst forth in full, alliances strained, feelings spilling over, and the audience left clamoring for closure. Don't go anywhere. The emotional peak will come at the next session, shocking revelations, confrontations, and headlines that will leave everyone reeling. The courtroom begins with an almost palpable feeling of tension, heavier than ever before, as if every smooth surface, every groaning floorboard, and each faintest whisper is magnifying the weight of what is to come. Kody arrives first, shoulders rigid, jaw clenched, carefully hiding the storm of fear, guilt, and expectations seething just below the surface. Christine second, eyes narrowed, scanning the room with equal measure of outrage and determining the room with equal measure of outrage and determining the room with equal measure of outrage and determining guilt, gliding in with poised nonchalance, though tension in her eyes betrays calculated control. Every detail observed, every reaction gauged, Janelle sits down quietly but tightly, hands folded in her lap, anticipating the emotional turbulence she knows to come, and Meri the last to arrive, with quiet but definite intensity, her hands quivering slightly, lips pressed tightly, eyes flashing between the other wives and Kody, drinking in everywhere wives and Kody, drinking in everywhere wives and Kody, drinking in everywhere wives and Kody, drinking in everywhere. Knowing that what will happen here today could forever change the family dynamic, the judge settles himself in, gavel falls, and the courtroom grows quiet as the plaintiff's attorney immediately leans forward. underscoring the fact that today will reveal the deepest layers of deception, betrayal, and secrecy, laying bare motive and alliance laid bare over years, ratcheting up the stakes to a level that has everyone seated and watching, and viewers at home seated and watching, and viewers at home watching, and viewers at home and viewers at home Korean viewers at home the home at the stakes to a level that home and viewers at home at a soft home and viewers at home at light home at the level that first detailing conversations, messages, and meetings with Kody never revealed to the other wives, each revelation carefully explained, voice calm but heavy with emotional import, Christine leaning in, voice shaking with controlled rage. How were these decisions made without us knowing? Were our feelings ever considered? Robyn answers with calculated deliberateness. I acted in good faith thinking I was keeping the family safe, but obviously my own perception and the effects of secrecy hurt. Her eyes perceptively sweeping the room, assessing reactions. Anger from Christine, incredulity from Janelle, shock and pain from Meri, fingers of Kody drumming against the gleaming table, mask of calm beginning to crack. Hold on to your seat. The revelation in the delation in the delation in the liver seat. The revelation in the liver. Assessing reactions. Her tea. The revelation in the delivery. Ingers of cognitive. On to your seat. The revelation in the liver. The revelation in the delivery. Everyone wondering what's behind all of this. Evidence is laid out, emails, letters, financial records, each one uncovering hidden deals, behind-the-scenes alliances, and choices that defy prior testimony, the effect nearly palpable in the air. Christine's expression hardening, jaw clenched, eyes flashing, Robyn's icy calm cracking slightly, Janelle's hands fidgeting in her lap, Meri silently taking in the force of each betrayal, while Kody's otherwise level demeanor starts to break. Betrayal. While Kody's otherwise level demeanor starts to break. Betrayal. While Kody's otherwise level demeanor starts to break. Betrayal. While Kody's otherwise level demeanor starts to break. Demeanor starts to contact exposing vulnerability. The gallery leans forward, whispers soft, the jury entranced, every slight movement magnified, the room heavy with tension, expectation, and emotional volatility. Hold on, because what you are about to see will rock the family to its foundation and leave you gripping the edge of your seat. Christine stands up, voice accusatory and sharp. How did these decisions come behind our backs? Undefined, how was trust so readily broken? Robyn answers slowly, I acted to protect, not to injure, but I now see the consequences. Janelle shifts uncomfortably, Meri tightens lips, jaw locked, Kody fidgets, hands clasped tightly as the weight of scrutiny bears down. A heretofore undisclosed narrative unfolds, revealing transfers and communications indicating favoritism and clandestine decision-making. The wives' reactions instant. Christine wide-eyed, Robyn's calm side-eyed, Robyn's calm side-eyed, Robyn's calm side-eyed, Robyn's calm shot, Christine wide-eyed, Robyn's calm shotstans instant. Christine wide-eyed, Robyn's calm shotstans instant. Christine wide-eyed, Robyn's calm constance. Kody lost for a moment for words. The plaintiff's attorney underscores each piece of evidence, weaving a tapestry of secrecy and betrayal that drives emotional reactions to a fever pitch, the tension almost tangible, palpable in the air, each disclosure layered with intensity, every glance and gesture heightening suspense. You are about to witness twists that will redefine relationships and reveal long-hidden motives. Cross-questioning intensifies, previously concealed letters, messages, and testimony are laid out, pointing to clandestine meetings and hidden deals, favoritism and covert alliances, Christine pacing, voice growing. How were we shut out? Undefined. How did this happen? Robyn trying rational explanations, Janelle clapping hands to her thighs, Meri seething in silence, Kody stumbling, tiny fissures opening in his facade. A letter emerges suggesting betrayal so profound it will destroy years of trust. The room collectively gasping, Christine gaping in dismay, Robyn shocked, Janelle white knuckling the edge of the bench, Meri shaking slightly, Kody left speechless, the pressure of secrecy bearing down, nearly smothered, nearly smothering, nearly smothering, nearly smothered. To follow will appall, repel, and fascinate you like never before. Yet another incendiary paper emerges, revealing hidden financial dealings, secret agendas, and undercover deals, setting off a chain reaction of accusation, denial, and emotional confrontation. Christine standing, voice demanding explanations, Robyn fighting to keep her composure, Janelle leaning forward anxiously, Meri biting her lip to keep from sobbing, Kody's hands trembly, voice weakening under incessant interrogation, tender incessant interrogation, tense interrogation, tense interrogation, tense interrogation, tense interrogation, tense interrogation, tender coverdation, tense interrogation, tense trobiums, tense tremblois weakening under incessant interrogation, denying explanations, Robyn exponential contact between Kody and Robyn, decisions affecting the whole family, all kept from the other wives, triggering emotional outbursts, Christine exclaiming, "Why were we not taken into consideration? Why was trust so utterly shattered?" Undefined, Robyn trying a placating defense, Janelle fidgeting uncomfortably, Meri silently shaking, Kody stumbling, minute exhales revealing tension, air thick with expectation. Get ready for the greatest surprise. The next surprise will leave your heart racing. The drama reaches its peak as a previously unseen letter comes to light, exposing a secret plan that has a bearing on the family's property, decisions taken without openness, discrimination revealed, emotional fallout tremendous, Christine wincing, Robyn stumbling, Janelle clutching the bench, Meri trembling, Kody lost for words for a moment, the courtroom charged with tension, the viewers enthralled, cross-examinations mount to a fever's enthralled, cross-examinations mount to a feversings mount to a fever's examinations mount to a fever's mount to a fever's mount to a fever's premise extends. Cross-examinations mount to a fever's tapestry of secrecy and deceit, laying bare hidden agendas, motives, and betrayal. The wives' reactions raw. Christine pacing, tone clipped, Robyn stiff, eyes narrowing, Janelle pressing her palms into her thighs, Meri quietly crying, Kody not speaking, trying to defend his actions. The coming moments will keep viewers on the edge, each revelation more shocking than the previous one. Christine demands transparency on clandestine transactions. Robyn reacts. Janelle takes the shock in silence. Meri's silent rage smolders. Kody stammers. Cracks in self-composure deepening. Tension at boiling point. The audience riveted. Finally, the session starts to unravel, emotional showdowns hitting their climax. Forgiveness, understanding, or at least admission is coerced. The wives confronting Kody in turn. Accusations is coerced. The wives confronting Kody in turn. Accusations is coerced. The wives confronting Kody in turn. Accusations is coerced. The wives confronting Kody in turn. Accusations is co-wives confronting Kody in turn. Accusations. Acknowledgement of harm done. Christine's eyes blazing. Robyn's calm reasserting itself but flavored by regret. Janelle's anger gradually easing. Meri's raw emotion still simmering but contained. The courtroom an arena of raw emotional power. The judge brings the session to a close, gavel banging, but the pressure of disclosure remains, bearing down on everyone, every heartbeat in sync with the drama on everyone, every heartbeat in sync with the drama unfolding, the wives filing out slowly, faces and spoiling out slowly, faces and drawing out slowly, faces and mauling out slowly, faces and falling out slowly, faces and drama unfolding, the wives filing out slowly, faces and drama unfolding. Tentative resolve, Kody sitting back for a moment, brooding over the emotional cost, the stage set for introspection, the audience left hankering for closure and emotional payoffs. Now, having seen years of secrets, deception, and emotional showdown, what would you do if you were in their shoes? Comment below and let us know, because your opinion counts and we want to hear your opinion on this cliffhanger ending.